there, Shawna Karrasch here with another Ask Shawna answer coming to you from Villanova. Okay, this question comes from Linda, and she says, oh, it's a short one. She says, tips for encouraging a lower neck for free walk in dressage, eventually to transfer under saddle. Well, that's easy. Well, I mean, it's a big subject, but it was a quick question. All right, so really, and I've dealt with this a fair share. I mean, because it's not hard to see that in horses, especially an unbalanced horse and fit horse. And so really what I like to do is I like to start with the reverse round pen. That may sound like a foreign thing to you, but I'm going to encourage you to go listen to, I mean, we have video on it too. I think I have Nico and Henley on the reverse round pen so you can see it. So look for, search Shawna Karrasch and reverse round pen, and you should find it on YouTube somewhere. And so, but in there, and it might be the Villanova site, but you can at least see what the reverse round pen looks like. You can, those horses were both, it was freezing cold. Henley's a yearling. Nico's much older, but much tense. He's very tense. And so there's kind of different issues, but you can see what that looks like. And really what you're looking for is really some relaxation. So when I worked with my Murray was an off-the-track thoroughbred who was kind of a nervous guy. And so he wasn't super hollow-backed or anything, but he could go around with a little tension and his head up a bit, not really in that nice frame, stretching through his back and using himself better. So what I would first do is just look for him to go. First I say go, just go. First just do liberty leading with me. So go to listen to my podcast. I have lessons. I don't know which lessons they are, but there's 2 of them on the reverse round pen, introducing it, including the liberty leading and moving up to trot, maybe in the next one. But what I start doing and fading to the center, so you're not going with them, and in the beginning I am, and then moving up to the canter. But the trot is really, I think, where most of this happens. It's where the muscles develop. It's where they start kind of figuring out some pieces. And then as you move up to the canter, it's easier to put those pieces together, but I think it's easier to get the trot, is an easier place to work through these things. So as I've got them, and so he would kind of go, and he just was looking around, and he was a little unbalanced, and he was a little, newer at it and didn't know what we're doing, but he's on the outside. He's not attached. He can go wherever he wants to. And sometimes he'd go run off and play for a second, but then he'd come back and go, okay, I'm ready to work. And he would get back to work. So as we're going, there's a point where he kind of would go, oh, and that little tiny adjustment with his head down, I click that. Now, because, and you'll see this with Nico in the video a little bit, because you can see Nico's going up, down, where do you want my head? And what I was trying to do, I worked on first him going. First, I just want your speed, one criteria at a time. I don't care what it looks like. Just get you going, get your speed. Okay, now let's look for you to be a little balanced in that, not leaning in or out. I just want to see you kind of balance, knowing the balance will really get more developed and we get more engagement. But for now, kind of get it where it looks kind of just like a decent trot anyway. And then as I would start to say, it's time to get our head down. I mean, I wouldn't say that, but in my head, I think these kind of pieces, we get the idea, we have a little duration, and we're kind of doing this now, and we show that we enjoy it. Then the next thing I do is I start looking for those little times where the head goes down just a tiny bit. Maybe it's going down because he's clearing his nose. I don't care. I just go, yes, I would take that. And because we already have had some training under our belt, they tend to go, that's the answer. So she clicked when my head went down. So remember, we always click on what we want to see more of. When the click has been trained correctly, they remember what earns them the click, and they're going to repeat it, because the clicker becomes a conditioned reinforcer. It reinforces that behavior. It says, what you're doing now is just earned you a reward. So you increase the likelihood of seeing that behavior repeated in the future. And the clicker does that. So I back it up with food reinforcement, but I had a chance to say, that's a piece I like, that's going to earn you a reward. And then I expect him to stop, and I'm going to go over there and feed him. Now, I would like him ideally to stop straight on the circle, but at this point in time, if I haven't sorted that out yet, I'm not going to worry about that. I will step forward to feed him, so I straighten him back out on the circle, but it's only one criteria at a time. So it's building on the previous criteria. So hopefully maybe you've resolved that before then. And as we go again, you'll probably notice that he might go for a little bit and they'll think, oh, my head down. And I reinforce that again. And it gets to a point, I'm going to be honest with you, gets to a point where it's too low. And so you're like, no, you're going to catch your lip, so then you kind of, but it's okay. I don't mind that because it's like, I get it. So then I get to a point where it's, I kind of keep reinforcing that sweet spot where I really want to be. And then I start looking for that stride to open up more, because first, okay, the head and neck don't necessarily engage the back and the hind end, but it's a piece that needs to be in place so we can get the next piece and the next piece and the next piece. So getting him to kind of think about lowering his head, and then I start looking for the stride to open up a little bit, the hind end to come under a little bit, and so tiny increments at first. I'm shaping the behavior to look eventually what I want it to look like. And if you see any video or pictures of Murray going, he was the one I was talking about. He's an off the track thoroughbred that was really nervous. And then it got to a point, and I want to be able to lunge like regular, but I want them to be balanced. I want them to be strong. I want them to use themselves well. So the reverse round pen isn't what I use for intense exercise, but it's what I can use to help prepare them and get them ready for the next stages of things and get them physically comfortable going in a different frame and using themselves better and biomechanically correct. So it is a piece that we can prepare them for. And then eventually I want to add in a lunge line. Well, and I start by putting my arm up. My arm isn't a driving aid. It just is the cue. It says go. And as we're going, and then eventually if people are using a lunge whip and they raise the lunge whip, the horse doesn't think, oh my gosh, he just goes, oh, that's the cue. It's just a longer arm. And so I want to prepare them for those pieces. So if somebody does that, they just go, okay. And then I want to be able to add in a lunge line at a later point, but I want them to understand and know this exercise, period. And then then adding the lunge line is just an incidental. So that's where I want that to go. Now, when I feel like that's going good, it's going well. And it got to a point where I was lunging Murray. And you could see Murray I was directed to, let's have him moving more. So I want you to walk around with him. It's not a circle, but, kind of keep moving that circle. So his speed comes up and his speed comes up. Well, what he started doing is he started leaning onto that. He's leaning on the lunge line, looking out. And so then I was told, that it was suggested that, you get side reins to help that. And I thought, well, isn't there another way I could do this? And then I thought to myself, well, what do I want? He's looking to the outside. He's leaning to the outside. How could I change that? What would be a piece that could change it? I thought if his eyes looking at me, he can't do that. So I took took the lunge line off, took him back to the reverse round pen and focused on his eye looking at me. So it helped him to bend to the correct side, just slightly. I mean, it's not a big bend, but it is helping to keep him balanced and keeping an eye on me while he is then going in nice form and nice biomechanically getting stronger and all that entails. So then taking it to under saddle. So getting that does a lot for helping them to get the strength, to get the balance, to get building a reinforcement history of where you want their head to be. But there's been times I've got on, an off the track thoroughbred. There's one that came here and he just really hollowed out and really up in the air. And if you touch his mouth, it just got more up in the air. So I thought, well, I'm just going to sit, and so I just would ask for the walk. And so at first he's a little bit braced and kind of like, yep, okay, when are you going to ask for something? And then pretty soon I guess you're not. And as he started relaxing, I started clicking and reinforcing it until he created it. I just captured it. He gave me that. I let him do it, so I didn't make him do it. I let him do it. And as he started doing that with the walk, you could see him then immediately going, okay, here we go. And it was him. It was very natural, stretching and using his hind end more, and then started working on it for other transitions. So I would do the same thing with the walk, as you've already done it stronger than the other horse did, the one that I just got on and thought, let's figure this out. You will already have a foundation in there. You're also going to have a stronger reinforcement history with the clicker and the training that it goes with. So you're going to have a problem solver already. So it'll be like, what could you possibly want? What could I do? I think, and as they're thinking, now how can I get reinforced? And then you feel them trying. And then the key is building duration on each of these behaviors, because you don't want to have to click and reinforce every little step. But in the beginning, you do, because if you want the behavior repeated, you've got to reinforce it on a fair share. So I would listen to the reverse round pen. And then I even think I would listen to the lessons on taking it under saddle. I don't know what they are right now because they're not right in front of me. But I hope that helps you out, Linda, and gives you some ideas and some things to think of. I'm sure you may have more questions. And so please don't hesitate. As you move along, you may go, yeah, okay, but I'm getting this. So what do I do with that? Whatever it might be. Don't hesitate to reach back out, and you know how to do that. You just go to Ask Shawna page on my website at shawnakarrasch.com, or you can email shawna@vianovatraining.com. And of course, you can also find my podcast on the other, there's another tab that takes you to another page, and you can find the different episodes and kind of search through there a bit. And then there's also products on there. We have, riding clickers and riding targets and, clickers, buckets, just different things. And it's also, my website is dovetailed with the Via Nova site, because this is where I am. I'm at Via Nova. So you can find out what I'm up to, what we're up to out here, whether it's on the road or the workshops and things we're having here. Anyway, I hope that helps you out and gives you food for thought. And I look forward to hearing from you. All right, till next time. Bye-bye.